Happy Halloween!
Hey.
Happy homecoming week. You guys are so lame. Joe, where are you going?
I think this might be more appropriate. I think that might be a little more appropriate.
Not true. Not true. We all know I'm an angel. That's a good one.
You're an angel.
Yay, it's homecoming on the mountain. Back home for the next 3 straight. The Flames have an opportunity to secure that home field advantage for the CUSA championship game. However, do not sleep on this opponent coming to the mountain, La Tech. They're 3-6 on the season, 2-3 in conference play, but their games have been very, very close, and, you know.
Do you want me to give you a little
Give us a breakdown.
Give me a little breakdown.
Let me give you a little
Oh, wait, just a little teaser here.
Yeah, please let the
Before
people
we
know.
get started, Richie McKay is on the show, so be sure to stick around for that.
We're talking hoops, baby.
We're talking hoops.
We're talking hoops, baby.
Can't believe it. Basketball is starting on Monday night right here at Liberty Arena. So that's crazy that it's already basketball season. It's also tournament time for a lot of fall sports, so we'll dive into that a little bit. But first, Matt Warner with the breakdown.
Why
of
does
Tech.
Liberty Arena doesn't have an official name to it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
There have been some nicknames kicked around. None of them were great.
Yeah, nothing stuck.
I imagine at some point naming rights will probably
I
be
want
sold.
it to be called the Warner Arena.
Well,
that's got
I
a
don't
good ring
think
to
I
it.
have.
I think you have the funds for that.
Alcova Arena.
Alcova Arena?
Joe, make it happen.
Can we make it happen?
You better make a call.
You know
the
what?
Flames could be
That actually has a really nice
That
ring
does.
to it.
The AA,
Yes.
Alcova Arena.
Hey, it's not for a meeting.
No,
it's for
no,
basketball.
No. You say, I'm Matt Warner, and I love college basketball.
I'm Matt
Yeah.
Warner.
Yeah.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
I'm Matt Warner, and I love college basketball.
And I'm powered by
Yeah, and
Alcova
I'm
Arena.
Yeah.
Alcova Arena.
Boy, nice
sound
place to
good.
call, Joe. You've got the power.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
La Tech.
La Tech.
La Tech. Here's the thing. I feel like I'm a broken record, but I keep saying it every week. Don't sleep on these guys.
Yeah.
Like, you look at what they've done this year. Hank Bachmeier, their quarterback, transfer from Boise State.
Good
He's
player.
a good player.
Very
A lot
good
of success. They're that air raid offense. They
Yep.
throw it all around. He's done really well for them this season. You talk about just last week, they played a tight ball game, ended up losing to our buddy Diego Pavia and crew in a tight one down there.
Yeah, that game-winning field goal with like
That
5
was a
to
good
play.
game.
Yeah, that
and
was
it
a
ended up
really
in
good
a fumble
game.
recovery too, so.
And in that game, Bachmeier was very efficient in that one. 20-27, 238 yards and a touchdown. He was really good in the first half of that one. So he's good. You got the receiver, Smoke, which we talked about him. He was preseason all-conference.
Well,
Smoke Harris, receiver,
What a
returner.
great name.
He's pretty explosive. I think he's 5th in the conference in receiving yards, but dangerous in the return game. They average 242 passing yards per game, so they sling it around. Here's the advantage for Liberty, and here's what should scare La Tech to death, is they are 123rd in the nation in rush defense. So they give up over 200 rushing yards per game. Only 7 teams in the country are worse in rush defense than Louisiana Tech. I mean, I think that we know what Liberty's game plan has been throughout the course of the season.
That's what y'all talked
And
about
I
last
don't see
week's
any reason that changes
podcast.
here. If you can't step up and stop that Liberty run, as you mentioned, Joe, it's over.
Right.
Over. And so I think,
Running between tackles, and you can't stop it?
yeah,
Over.
they're going to be tested stopping Liberty's run. I think Liberty, and we've seen Liberty's defense struggle a bit the last 2 weeks against better quarterbacks.
Yep.
They could be tested as well
Yeah.
against the pass attack of Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, they're also worse in red zone defense. So if Liberty does run the ball down the field, it's going to be hard to stop them. And the red zone, they average 382 total offense per game. So
Should be a great crowd, though.
It should be a great
Homecoming, it's supposed to
crowd.
be packed.
Hey,
so it should be
got
great.
a lot of
Beautiful day.
alumni
I
in
look
the
at the weather.
house.
Great weather.
Like 68,
Mid-60s,
70
6
upper
p.m.
60s,
kick. Yeah, it should be a good game. And we were just talking off camera with Coach McKay about how Liberty is not in the top 25.
Right.
They're not ranked. So
We thought
you
they
look
would
at
be.
that.
What's
You
the
look at
official
that
ranking?
as
It's like 28, isn't it?
I think it's 28. They were
28, yeah.
27
Yeah, they
after
fell
last week. Then you win your biggest game of the season against probably your best opponent of the season, and you actually slide a
It's
spot
fine.
to 28th,
Just
Joe.
relax.
But we
You'll be
talked
all right.
about that could
Just
be
hold
what
your
happened
water.
above them in terms of the rankings. So,
Hold your water.
but you think that that's good for Jamie Chadwell and his message to
I
this
do.
team?
I think it's, here's what coaches love. They love when the preseason rankings come out and they're not picked to win the conference. They love that. They all say, oh, we don't care about this stuff. They love that to go, oh, See? Hey, nobody believes. They love, didn't crack top 25. You get one more week at least where you get to kind of play the, you know what? They still don't believe. They still don't think. And honestly, coaches probably don't even have to say it that much. Players see this stuff. If you're a player, you're like, are you kidding me?
100%.
You're coming off that huge win at Western Kentucky. You're all jacked up like, this is it. We're going to crack the top 25. We're right on the doorstep. And then you're not. That chip gets a little bit bigger. At least for one more week.
Yachttalk has a really good no respect speech.
Oh, really?
I'll just give him the no respect speech.
Go for it.
No, I'm not going to do
it.
I'm not going to give the no respect speech.
No?
But I mean, it's a locker room speech that would get the boys fired.
Okay.
Maybe the boys would be fired up.
I'll talk to Brad Queen and see if he.
Talk to Brad.
They can get you in there.
James. I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. Okay.
Yeah.
They change all the locks to the locker room that Joe has.
Yeah. You just do
Just like do that way.
Yeah.
No, that won't be.
Do you have anything to say about La Tech? Because I have a feeling that I'm going to win or we're going to do better in bold predictions because you haven't contributed anything.
With La Tech, here's what you're always going to have, right? When you get any schools from Louisiana, they're going to be loaded up with athletes, right? Because they're going to get transfer kids in from, an LSU or, some of the other schools in Louisiana, and that is a state that is loaded up with athletes. I think that is the rushing stat that you gave is a good stat in Liberty's favor because that's obviously a big one. But whenever you play teams like this, and we noticed this from some of the other games, where you have a receiver, a quarterback, a running back, those guys can keep you into a game themselves. And so that is the fear with a school like La Tech is that across the board they're going to have really good players and really good athletes. And when that happens, you got to be fundamental. You got to stick to your and don't get me wrong, Liberty has really good players and really good athletes themselves. But you got to be fundamental, stick to your disciplines. And when you stick to your disciplines, that's how you beat those teams.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen it with this defense specifically. Very bendy, right? We say bend but don't break. Yeah. They bend a lot sometimes, but are able to come away with big plays. In the second half of that game against Western Kentucky, you lost that with a couple of blown coverages, and that led to those big scores. But Liberty, in general, does not give up that big play touchdown a whole lot on the season. They forced you to work your way down the field, and then they assume, and more often than not, they've been right, you're going to make a mistake somewhere along the way, and Liberty's been great to get the turnover, grab an interception when they get their hands on the ball, and that's the same way in a game like this. You have to hope for that.
But I will say this also is like you're skating on thin ice. Like you look at some of the schools out there that get in these close games, and they end up getting beat. Liberty's got into a couple of them, and they've managed to pull it out.
Yeah.
And I look at a team like I remember last NFL stat, the Minnesota Vikings won 10 games on the last drive. In one score games, right? Well, then this year, they've lost a bunch of games. Flipped. So that's my point is you have to be really careful. Oh, we're going long. We're 8-0. It's great. Well, now you run in and a ball doesn't bounce your way a couple of times, you could be in trouble. So once again, that goes back to fundamentals. Do your principled things. Play your principled defense. Clean up the mental errors. Like you said, the West Kentucky game, those touchdowns, those weren't hey, we just got beat. They're just physically better than us, right? No, it wasn't that. Those were mental errors. And it's good that you have the extra few days here since you played last in order to clean a lot of that stuff up.
Right. I guess you can say the Flames have been playing with fire.
You could.
You could say that.
You could
say that.
It's obvious.
Yeah, you could. You guys are so mean. I laugh at all your stupid jokes
Joe said
all the time.
I would have died.
I know. It's so
Don't play with fire.
You're so creative.
Okay. So you mentioned having the extra couple days. Is that what you think the focus was for this team? Not only giving them a couple days off, which Coach Chadwell said that they were doing this weekend, but also just getting back into the normal routine. Finally, don't get me wrong, midweek on the mountain was great, but finally getting back to those Saturday games, your regular routine, getting some guys healthy. We'll have Tyron Dupree back from sitting out in that second half. He's such a leader on this defense. Could that have played a factor in, the defense kind of letting loose a little bit and not having that leader on the field of the second half?
But the which is a huge credit. This is the first time that Liberty's dealt with the whole entire month of October playing midweek games. And they went through that undefeated.
What was it, 19 days? They had 3 games in 19 days.
So, that says a lot. That's a lot of change, a lot of different things. It's great. I really enjoyed it, by the way. But to get through that and to come out of it unscathed is great. And now you got the time to regroup. You got the extra few days here. You get to clean up the mental errors,
And you get to be at home for 3 straight weeks.
And you're home for 3 straight weeks.
So, you get to
it's
really
a good little
just get into that
coming
routine. And then, it is.
I know that we're looking down the road here, but the team that I saw UMass play against New Mexico State early, I'm like, oh my goodness.
UMass actually won this past week.
Oh, they did win?
They did. They snapped their 7-game losing streak.
But they were
he's a UMass reporter on the side.
We were just dogging them last week, and then they pulled it out.
But, I mean, to have Louisiana Tech, Old Dominion, UMass, right? And I thought, when I saw the UMass playing New Mexico State, I'm like, this team's pretty good. They're much improved, obviously. But this is a great stretch of games coming up.
And they beat Army last week.
They beat Army?
At Army, yeah.
Wow.
Right,
so this is fun. Yeah.
We'll have Richie McKay in just a moment, but it is tournament time for a lot of other fall sports. We'll start with men's soccer, which in the Ohio Valley Conference, they lost to Incarnate Word to end their regular season. So they will be the number 3 seed heading into the tournament, which will start on Sunday at Eastern Illinois. I believe I'm right. I believe I'm right on that.
SIU. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And then you have women's soccer beat La Tech 4-1. So hopefully that's just some foreshadowing for Flames football to close its regular season, secure the number 2 seed and a bye. They'll play on Friday, starting in the semifinal round. They will play the winner of Western Kentucky and La Tech. So you just came off beating La Tech, so obviously I would think that you would want to see them. One of their 2 conference losses this season was Western Kentucky. It was back on October 21st. They lost 1-0. So
which by the way, our girl scored 2 goals in that 4-1 game that we had on. Ava Goodman, right? That's who we had on?
Yeah.
And we have not been able to confirm if she has broken out the Sweater Weather celebration yet.
Celebration.
Can you reach out, Em? Can you find out if she's actually used that or not?
We need to. Spencer Beeman.
We need to find out if she's gone to the Sweater Weather.
If not, I better see it on Friday in the semifinals.
She was great.
She was great. She's terrified. And then the CUSA.
He simply ran out of pitch. I would love to do it.
What if we did?
You respond to that, but then
sometimes ESPN does those broadcaster crossover events where they have like your college basketball guys do NBA games. What if we did a crossover event, but like we did soccer?
I would love that.
And
I was talking his voice the entire time. And the ball's moved down the sidelines. Oh, he simply ran out of pitch.
You know what I would have to get used to? The Flames have.
Yeah.
No, the Flames has is what they say.
That'd be awful.
I think their grammar's a little backwards where if it's plural, you got to singular.
I don't
know. We'll see. Please. Maybe we can do that.
Oh, gosh. All right. And then field hockey, regular season champs for, that's a 3rd straight year, right?
We own the Big East.
Own the Big East by stocking it. I just
What's
did a
field
copy
hockey?
paste
We know
there.
field hockey's ranked now.
They're 6th right now, I think.
Come on.
Let's go. Pack line defense showing up big.
That's right.
Nikki and I have been talking a lot lately, and we feel as if the program's headed in the right direction, and we're really trying to work, some of the it's a ball, right? It's just a regular ball.
Oh, my gosh. You don't even know what equipment they play with.
Yeah.
Go ball.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my
So
wings.
you're getting a little deep.
I'm losing my wings.
Got to not get too deep in the crease.
Yeah.
In the circle.
You're
a
not.
circle.
Okay.
Anyways, we got the program rolling.
Anyway.
Nikki and I feel
Bottom
confident
line.
that we got the
Bottom
program
line.
on.
Okay. Who is it? Jody Connolly
Jody Connolly.
is just scoring goals left and right. I didn't check their last game, but they will play this Friday.
Villanova.
Who
they beat 6-0 earlier this year.
All right. We'll see how that goes. You know what I'm very interested to know moving forward? What other programs are going to kind of look into this pack line defense and what Nikki's done this year with his team and see who implements that moving forward and how they were.
Everybody copycats.
We should tell.
Everybody copycats.
We got to tell Joe Pierre, do not give any, don't answer any calls about that.
Yeah.
But speaking of the pack line defense and
what a transition.
Look
Good
at that.
job, Emily.
Look
You're
at that.
So good.
The pack line defense, basketball, all that. Let's get in touch with head coach Richie McKay. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a master of the pack line defense. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. Put him in a different conference, it doesn't matter. He's runner-up behind Rajon Rondo on Emily Austin's worst people to interview of all time. It is Grandpa Ritchie McKay.
What do you have against Rondo? What Rondo ever do to you?
Rondo was not easy to interview.
Okay, well.
Remember when he fell in the shower and broke his hand, the same hand that you break, like, punching?
Yeah. Wait, that introduction
And
that introduction went really high.
And then
Like,
it
where you
crashed
want
at
to
the
pump
end.
his tires, you
Yeah.
pump his tires, and then it went
the
back
tire
down.
exploded.
Yeah.
How long did you work on that?
Actually,
I
I
wondered
just
why
thought
she
of it.
worked on Friday. Now it makes sense. Yeah, now it makes sense.
First Friday she's been home 2 months.
That was her whole 15 minutes on Friday.
Coach McKay, I really do miss you and
It's good seeing you,
basketball.
Coach.
How are you?
I'm feeling very angelic.
Yeah, right. This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
No,
I'm-
I like that. That's great. You're the only one who's in the spirit, and I
Yeah. Happy
appreciate
Halloween.
that.
That's terrific, boy. Yeah, I'm well. Thank you.
Loving that shirt. What's your best all-time Halloween costume
I
from back in the
don't
day?
do Halloween.
You don't dress up? No, I'm talking about like little Richie McKay.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
That was a
Little
long,
Richie.
It was a long time ago.
It's Reformation.
Yeah, so a little bit of a different off season for you as a grandpa.
Yeah, that's been one of the joys of my life. Little Anthony Joseph, we call him AJ.
AJ.
I know he's going to be a baller. Like, I can tell already.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
Coach
yeah,
McKay
yeah,
says
but
that.
Luke
But
and
does he
Kate-
play defense?
Well,
That's right.
you know, the McKays have never been known for the defense.
They just like to talk about it.
We talk about it.
They talk about it. Coach and not
Do what I
action.
say, not what I do.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
but no, I'm excited for Luke and Kate. They're terrific parents, and it is a blessing.
So a new season, and I know you've been asked this question a million times, like, oh, no Darius McGee, what does that look like? Well, now we're right here on the doorstep of the season. How do you feel like this team is going to, how might it look differently this year without the greatest scorer that has ever come through, this program?
Yeah, make that 1,000,001.
Yeah, right.
Look, Darius, he's a generational player. Like you just don't get many guys that have that kind of ability with that kind of humility and that much ownership in the team and its success. So we miss him, and he was a security blanket in a lot of ways. You don't have to draw up much for
Right,
Darius McGee.
right.
That being said, I think we had a tendency maybe in our lighter moments that we would depend solely and maybe stand around and watch him do what he does. I think this team will have a little more balance, a little more versatility. I don't think we'll be as explosive offensively, but I do think it will still be hard to guard.
Yeah.
That's more like a Liberty
It's kinda like-
Flames, before Darius kind of took over and just started shooting
Yeah, but
every single time he got the ball. I mean, just the most selfish guy.
now, mind you,
I'm kidding.
I think it's the highest rated Liberty basketball team we ever had last year. So Darius did a lot for our program, and not just on the floor. Like he
Right.
is a really, really special teammate, great representative. He was about what we're about, the university, its mission. None of us are perfect, but Darius certainly modeled, in my opinion, what it's like to be a student athlete at Liberty and how you get the most out of your experience here.
And he just signed a deal with the Pacers, right?
He did. He
What
signed
does that look like?
an Exhibit 10,
Okay.
which is kind of like it's better than just a normal G League contract because you get some rights to the facility and maybe an opportunity to get a 10-day. And he's making good money.
Yeah.
Actually, got to give him a Flames Club brochure. 'Cause
right, Mike Hagan. Yeah, step in.
So tell us a little bit about your roster right now, the transfer-wise, recruit-wise, the guys you've brought in. What's that going to look like this year?
Yeah, Joe, that's a pretty open-ended question.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got? Well, if you get more
You guys
specific.
make fun of me not doing research. But he did have breaking news with Nikki Parsley-Blocker finding out about the pack line defense situation.
Yeah,
with field
I
hockey.
heard about that.
He was totally
I put
kidding.
that defense together.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Nikki and I put that together.
Yeah.
And you know what? And look how well they're doing.
They're doing great.
They're doing
so maybe
great.
you should come help us a little bit.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll slap the floor. I'll tell you that much. We will slap the floor.
So the significance in slapping the floor is a correlation to better defense?
Hey,
it's
Coach, tell me about your
I will
entire
teach
roster.
the intimidation factor. Right? No, you're okay with me if you want to be more specific. You guys got the transfer kid in from Creighton, correct?
Yeah, we actually have two transfers. It's been the first time we've been in the portal for a non-graduate transfer. And Caden Matheny from Bowling Green, who is originally from Morgantown, West Virginia. We recruited a little bit, really liked him at high school. We had just gotten a commitment from another guard, so didn't have room to continue recruiting him, and I was a little disappointed because I think he's a special player. So he's on board. He's doing great. And then Xander Yates, whose dad actually played here. Steve played back in the day. I don't want to say the
With
year.
Naz, I think, right?
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Naz.
same.
Yeah, and he didn't play much at Creighton, but he is certainly what we're about. Like he's a weapon for us, especially offensively. So we really like the way those those guys have knitted into our fabric, and I think our freshmen are going to be really good. It's just going to be hard for them because I think the guys that are returning are used to those minutes. Those returners have improved, so it'll even be harder for them to get on the floor. So we may do some redshirting. We're not sure yet, but stay tuned.
I guess that's a good problem to have. Right. And Joe, if you do want to get to know these players, there's a new segment that Flame Central does. It's called the Players Lounge. There's also a Twitter account for Liberty Men's Basketball.
By the way,
Liberty MBB, and you can get to know players in the Players Lounge.
We may be shooting a special Players Lounge this week with a new guest, so that keep an eye out for that.
The Players Lounge, but maybe a coach.
Maybe so.
There's a
Which, by the way, Coach, I want to get into this. I went out to McKay Madness on Friday night. Took Jack out there. Yeah. And I think it should have been branded Gabriel McKay Madness. I'm telling you, here's how it went down. Little lull, whatever. What happens? No. G just takes the microphone and he just ran the second half of that thing. Like, just took over. It was fantastic.
Super shy. He's starting to come out.
It was like he just noticed, like, somebody needs to let me take it. And that's leadership, right? You want to see that out of your guys.
Are you surprised?
No, not one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. That was a lot of fun.
I heard about it. I actually couldn't be there for the duration of it, but I heard about it, and then I looked at my phone one something in the morning, and he was talking about the NIL deal that he needs now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Quickly it escalates.
You go to money fast.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So what can you tell us about CUSA? The preseason rankings have Liberty finishing first, tied with Middle Tennessee. Do you address that with the team? Like, hey, new conference, a lot of newness. This is just preseason, or your guys?
We don't address it. Like, I'm sure our guys are thankful that we're recognized that way. A lot of it has to do with the guys that have gone before the players that we have now and the guys that are on our roster. They've worked hard to compete on a regional and maybe even national level, but the conference is so unknown. Like, there's only 2 of the coaches that are in the league that I've even coached against, and I'm not as familiar with the individual players. So I do think it's a conference that has a little more of a propensity to recruit junior college and transfers. So they'll be older, they'll be more athletic, a little more length and size. So we'll see how we do. I like our group, though. Look, everybody likes their team right now because there's no one that is judging the outcome of the scoreboard, and maybe if you have another interest in the outcome of the score. And typically when that happens, you get a lot of criticism and or praise. And one of the things that we've really tried to be foundational in the building of our program is having a right placed identity. And we know who we are. We know where identity lies. And I feel like for us to be at Liberty, it's a privilege. And I think our guys, regardless of where they're predicted or how they perform, heck, we're all hardwired for glory. So we want to perform well, but we don't want to chase the wrong glories. And I think for our group, they do a fabulous job of manifesting that.
We got a question from one of our viewers or listeners. Actually, another one from Idaho. I don't know if you know this, we're huge in Idaho. Huge in Idaho. Multiple people that are big fans from the state of Idaho.
I do eat a lot of potatoes, though.
So I don't know how to put that. It's a mailbag. Our buddy Christian, he sent in a question when we said that we were going to have you on, and I think it's a question a lot of people kind of have on their mind as you move into a new conference, and we feel like Conference USA will be a step up from what we've experienced. Is it possible? Do you see a path for an at-large coming out of this conference? And maybe it's hard to say right now, but as you know the history of these programs a little bit, down the line, do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah. And Joe, maybe you should spend some time with Christian. That's a really good question.
Good job, Christian.
Maybe get him on the show. Yeah.
Well job.
Yeah.
I think that's the hope. I think last year the league was ranked, I want to say as high as 9th or 10th in the nation, which is ASUN was, I want to say, 18th or 19th.
FAU stuff. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
That's an owl.
Yeah. Okay.
She does. She claims.
So every time
Okay,
you say
UNC
FAU,
lose
she
to
does
Georgia
that.
Tech.
Oh boy.
Thankfully, they left the conference. Yeah.
But if you guys have an extra seat on the plane going down to FAU when you play them,
that would be we don't play them. They're not in the conference anymore. But
you do
it's
play
okay.
them non-con.
Are those in your? Oh, that's true.
Whoa!
She just shut
Whoa!
you down.
Back up! I have a boxing costume over there.
Let's get back to the question.
Let's go back to
Okay, sorry.
Stop with all the jibbing and jabbing. Let's get back
I think it's the hope that we're competitive enough in the non-conference that, because of the level of play that 1 through 9 in our league has, we hope to maybe have a second bid. It's getting harder and harder for the mid-major, though, not to put that out there as an excuse as to why we want this or that. But, man, when you get to a certain point as a mid-major, we've experienced this, no high majors want to schedule you. And if I was at a high major, I get it. When you have however many 18, 20, maybe even 22 in the future conference games, and those games are all quadrant 1s or 2s, what's the motive in scheduling a mid-major that you could lose to, and that would maybe thwart some of your postseason opportunities. So I get it. It's the nature of the beast. We've tried to schedule aggressively. No one wants to come to Liberty Arena anymore, but it's all good. We do have a pretty competitive non-conference schedule, and I hope that prepares us well for the league.
Yeah, do you feel like this is the toughest non-conference schedule you've had? I mean, you get FAU, Charleston, you get in that little event.
Yeah.
Well, you get Alabama again. Grand Canyon is coming here. That'll be a good one. This is
We have at least 5 NCAA tournament teams from last year on our non-conference schedule, depending on who we play in Myrtle Beach. And I think, again, if you're going to do well in March, which is the time of year you want to be playing your best, you have to have experienced the hard. And Monty Williams always says, on the other side of hard is usually what you want. So I think it's good to test our group. I don't know how many games we'll win, and I'm not a predictor of that, but I do think it'll prepare us well for our league.
So, Coach, when you have a team, when you go from a coaching standpoint, you had Darius, and then now you're going back to, like you say, a more rounded type of basketball team. What personally do you prefer to coach? Do you like having that one guy who's the superstar and he's there to always, take you to the next level? Or would you rather say, hey, maybe not have that direct superstar, but a good group of guys with a lot of depth? What is your and your staff say your personal preference to be able, and what have you coached throughout the years? I'm sure you've had a little bit of both.
Yeah, really good question.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not often, like I mentioned, you get a Darius McGee or a Joe Yacht pickleball.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, those elite players only come around so often.
Yeah. But sure David Pollock handed it to him.
I did hear
because
I had lunch with David Pollock, and he had mentioned that he kind of dominated, other than the older gentleman that plays. Yeah. What's his name?
Joe Yock.
Dougie.
Oh, Joe, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, other older. Yeah.
But he especially mentioned his outcome with you. But anyway.
He did?
He did, yeah. Do you want to?
We don't need to get into that now.
Okay.
We don't need to get into that.
Should we get him back?
Really fired up. I can see his blood starting to boil.
Bring him back and ask him. Feel free to do that if you like.
Yeah.
We can go to Twitter.
Sorry, Coach.
Sorry,
Coach. Go ahead with this awesome
sort of
question.
subject. I think in your recruiting, you're always trying to find the best player you can that fits into your university and your program. So we didn't think Darius was going to be the all-time leading scorer, like a 5'9", 150-pound kid.
Yeah, you didn't realize what you had.
Right. But he worked himself into being a great player, and I hope it speaks to our commitment to development. And do I think there's some other guys out there? Well, I want to say 10 out of our last 10 starters have been offered pro contracts. So I think it speaks
that's a great stat.
We've been able to produce some guys or develop some guys within a system that give them an opportunity to continue their basketball dreams. And I don't know if I have a preference as to the kind of structure of a given team. I love the challenge, the puzzle it is to see if you can get everybody connected on both ends of the floor and play in a style that's selfless and fun to watch, fun to play in. Yeah. And I think we've done a little bit of that since we've been here.
And what makes a great coach is being successful doing both style teams. Right. And that's what we have in Ritchie McKay. Where can we get this awesome shirt? Are you guys selling? I want one of those. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners. Is it an exclusive?
It's accessible for anyone that's in the
Makes the
JPL.
team.
Oh, okay. No limit allowed. Yeah.
I was wearing, you guys did a few years back, the Coach McBuckets t-shirts.
No.
Every time I wear that in the gym or something like that, people always stop me.
Yeah. Who is he?
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of that. It might be a little bit. I've got to explain myself.
I've
Yeah.
never gotten anything from men's
Speaking
basketball.
of scheduling, there is a certain crew out in Huntington, Indiana, and the NAI crew called the Huntington Foresters and Corey Alford. They are they say they don't understand why you've been ducking them all this year.
Ducking them?
Yeah, that's the rumor around town. Can we get them on the schedule next year for the Flames? Will you make your commitment into that camera? You make your commitment into that camera right now for next year.
The moment his dad schedules us, we'll schedule him.
Great call. I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, we don't know what happened last time his dad scheduled you. So, okay. That's all I'm saying.
He and I
That's good.
we're really good friends, and I got a lot of love for that family.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Alford family are good people.
Yeah, great people.
I can't believe it. Next Monday, men's basketball season tips off right here.
Well, it's the only reason I'm on the
America's
show.
broadcast
You get on the
team.
show for either season beginning or an NCAA tournament, and that's why the last
Well, you
couple
know
of
when
years-
you'll be invited back.
Listen though. If you need more Richie McKay in your life, you're going to be on the pregame show, I believe, for our Flame Central Game Day show.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I've been told.
I
Have
am.
you been told that? It might be a surprise to you. Maybe I ruined it,
We'll
but I
get with your
believe.
secretary.
Yeah, I believe Coach McKay's joining for Flame Central Game Day as well.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of insights on football.
We expect you to break it down.
Yeah.
We got the Players Lounge. If you want to get to know some of the new guys, head over to Liberty Men's Basketball Twitter account for that. Maybe we'll have more of those Players Lounges moving forward. We need to get some features going for men's basketball season. Caillou making that transition
Kai.
more than
already-
8,000 miles away from
Caillou.
home.
Can I tell you?
And I just see him on his little bird scooter overlooking all the treetops, 7-footer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my
And
gosh.
he's already a fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
At McKay Madness,
Is he?
he was very quickly
Oh, yeah.
became a fan favorite.
Let me
What
see.
did
People
he
were
say
loving
in the
him.
Players Lounge of what he eats at the ride?
Fish heads, yeah.
Fish
soup.
heads, and I'm just,
But
Serves fish head.
he later said, because the guys were ribbing him about that, where do you get that? He said, no, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the fish head soup at the Rock, the
You're not
dining
gonna
center,
find it.
You're not going to find
it's
it.
not there.
You gotta go to the back door. for that,
Let me
yeah.
tell you about this. Caillou is the sweetest soul. Like, I love that kid. He is, and he tries so hard in his English, his communication. You can't help but to smile when you're around him, and he's so grateful. His parents have done it. That's the beauty about being here, and especially in our program. The families of our guys, they are awesome, and I can't wait for Kai's parents to come over and see him play. And we need to keep working on his translation because he thinks score the ball means shoot the three.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Thought you meant shoot the three.
There's some U.S.-born players that also struggle with that. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
but how brave to move so far away from home, not knowing the language, but what better place to be than Liberty where you have that family atmosphere because it's already,
It's so
you get
cool seeing
homesick enough.
It's so cool seeing how
making
the
that
guys
transition.
interact with him.
Yeah,
like
they're
being
on-
at some practices and stuff. Like they care so much about including him, number one, and just trying to help him along. It's just really cool. And it speaks a lot to the type of guys you have in the program.
Yeah, I mean, let's put yourself in his shoes. Like, if we went over to China and they asked us to speak some Mandarin or at least interpret or translate it, it'd be really difficult. We couldn't do it without an interpreter. And Curdy Blair, especially, who's just a freshman, like he'd take him to every class. It was really special to watch. So we love Kai. He's going to be really good for us. I don't know when, but he's going to be really good for us. He's still got to learn what it means to show on a ball screen. So I'm practicing my Mandarin too.
Oh, yeah,
And,
good.
Yeah.
How's that coming?
That's ni hao ma.
Oh,
What exactly does that mean?
That means hello. How are you?
Oh, hello, ni hao ma.
No wonder he's having trouble with the ball stick. That's all you know. Yeah. He's like,
He's
yeah.
like, I know, Coach,
No,
I'm
yeah,
fine.
No,
I'm doing well."
hey, good to see you too.
Ni hao ma.
I love being on the Flame Central podcast.
All right, yeah. do you
Flame
wanna
Central
do an
podcast
updated-
powered by Alcova Mortgage.
We didn't even have to ask. That's a pro.
He's just a pro.
Almost
That's a pro.
All right.
too easy.
Yeah.
If you want to make the NCAA tournament, we'll have you back. Thanks so much for coming. No, I'm just joking, Coach. Really excited about the season. Get out there to support your Flames on Monday night at Liberty Arena. Can't believe it's already, we say this every year, it's already basketball season, but should be a lot of fun with this new team. So we're excited.
I can't wait for halftime.
I'm gonna have
I
to
think
use
he'll
the
be
restroom.
safe game 1. I think he'll be, I think he'll be safe.
Yeah, that is one of the most challenging parts of my job. It's like,
Me and
you know,
Rajan.
I think we've talked about this before. I'm going to actually say that. Excuse me, Grandpa McKay. Nihama. But
I do hope you open up your first interview with Grandpa McKay.
Please do that.
I will. But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to be really serious this question. And then Coach is just off the rails trying to make some sort of making fun of my dog sweater that I spent $200 on. And then if I'm like, you know what, I'm going to totally joke, then he's like, are you really watching the game? Did you just have to think for an entire half
put her in
of
no
that was your
wins.
question? So
You put her in no-win situations.
You know,
it's a lose-lose.
some people say that she had it coming.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Naz and I
love
think
it.
it's
I
great.
love
So,
it.
yeah, we love it.
Again, runner-up for my favorite coach on campus. Coach McKay, thanks so much for your time. Great to have you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
What a great sport Coach McKay is.
I
He
don't know
gives
why
me
he
a hard
keeps
time.
coming
We give
on.
him a hard time. It's just all good fun.
Yeah.
Everybody gives me a hard time.
Yeah.
Grandpa McKay. If you're having a hard time looking for a home and trying to buy a home,
This is your cue.
I have a guy for you, and it has to do with Yacht Talk, baby, Alcova Mortgage.
Bam. Alcova Mortgage, Friends of Liberty program, up to $5,000 lender credit. We'll make sure that you're in the right program, save you the most amount of money, but up to $5,000 lender credit towards your closing costs. That's not Jeffrey dollars.
No.
That's
not
That's
cold
not
cash.
Cole's cash.
That-
Matt wants to be
not
paying cold
Monopoly
cash.
money?
I'll be glad, not Monopoly money. I'll be glad to pay him in cold cash, but we're going to do it in real money for you.
And you pay me
right?
Chick-fil-A gift cards.
Chick-fil-A gift cards, we'll do that for Matt Warner. But for you, $5,000 potentially of cold hard cash. All you have to go, hit a new website.
Yeah, do you have it?
What is
Do you
it?
know it?
I mean, it's literally
It was really short.
AlcovaMortgage.com/Liberty.
That's
You
it.
can't
Is that what it
remember?
is?
Alcova.
Oh, good.
my
Thank you,
gosh.
Emily.
All right, good.
Go, Emily. Go, Cameron, Emily. Go, Emily. Tell her what it is.
AlcovaMortgage.com.
No, it's not Alcova Mortgage. It's
I'm sorry,
Alcova.
Alcova.com/Liberty.
There you go.
That's where you're going to get $5,000 real money.
Alcova.com/Liberty.
Alcova.com/Liberty.
you couldn't even remember that.
And that takes you right there where you can, all you do is go there, boom, done.
done.
It's almost
Too easy.
Too easy.
easy.
So excited for basketball season. Be sure to hit Liberty Arena for that first game on Monday.
They're going to be
Yeah,
good.
should be
I'm telling
good.
you right now, I wouldn't say I'm for Richie. He doesn't like hearing that. They have a chance to be pretty good.
I'm excited. I mean, it
I'm
was
interested in those conferences and how
Yeah.
good these are. You can be good, but
Yeah.
I think
That's
things are
fun,
going to be tougher.
especially early in the season. Just tracking like these non-conference games from teams within the Conference USA, just to kind of gauge like, all right, who's actually good. A lot of turnover in the conference. Some new teams, obviously. So yeah, it'll be a lot to figure out in non-conference play. Who's actually good?
Should be exciting. All right, let's move back to football. Week 10 CUSA games. Just real quick, going through this: Jack State at South Carolina, Kennesaw State at Sam Houston, Middle Tennessee at New
Sam
Mexico
Houston's still
State,
gotta win.
Western Kentucky at UTEP. So really, the game here that sticks out to me is that Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, right? Because
They could beat 'em.
Western Kentucky should take care of UTEP, and you're
And
kind of
New
looking
Mexico
at Western
State's
Kentucky and New
trying
Mexico
to make
State.
sure they're still in play for the conference championship.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they can't
So New
slip up.
Mexico State can't slip up. Middle Tennessee is 1-3 in CUSA
Who
play.
wins the
but
tiebreaker between Western Kentucky and New Mexico State?
It depends. They play the week of the 11th.
They haven't played each other yet?
They will.
I thought
No,
they did.
they-
Okay. Oh, so
yeah.
that's going to
So that'll it.
That's going to
potentially
pretty
decide.
Essentially be
right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
So, like we said, the Flames could secure home field advantage for that conference championship
How
game with
exciting
one
that
more
is.
conference win. It could happen this Saturday on the mountain. So, kind of hoping for that. All right, let's get to bold predictions. We talked a lot about those.
Bold and their predictions.
The Snell scoring system is real.
I just want to put everyone at ease. I did get an email from
did.
Jeff Snell.
He's okay.
He is okay. He had sent it from a wrong email address, or it got sent to the wrong place. He's okay. That's the first thing. We want to make
Golly,
sure.
that's good to
I know.
hear.
Number two,
I was worried about that.
equally as
Prayers up to
good.
Jeff Snell.
Equally as good. My math was correct. So I did. And he said, you know what? The system runs itself. And that's what he said. And he's right. He's right. So,
I love it.
So handled that. We're good. So Joe and I split
I
up.
don't like the fact that you have the keys to the system, though. You know what I'm
You
saying?
don't like that?
Yeah, I don't like that. I want Jeff to run the system.
Well,
because
I think
I
we
think
all do,
with you having the keys to the system, you can alter things. And we don't need that. This has to be fair. Jeff runs the system.
Yeah, it's his system. Jeff also, and you know what? I
his
forgot.
system.
I think I forgot to actually send it to this email address. He has developed a tiebreaker system, and it is
Leave no
extensive.
stone
It's
unturned.
extensive to say the least. It involves Well, one of the tiebreakers, if you get far enough down, is a 50-yard dash between the two people that tied.
Wow.
If you get further down, this is like the 6th or 7th tiebreaker.
Do you think you could beat me in a 50-yard dash?
Kill you.
Joe Young, you would tear an Achilles in a second.
But you know what? He would drag
myself across that finish line. Hammies and quads. That's what I'm worried about.
If it's the tiebreaker continues, it eventually gets to he had just the most productive or highest sales from an Alcova Mortgage employee that they would just win. Not even any of us. Whoever has had the best month in the office, they just win. So it's
give
extensive.
Me your bold prediction. We got to close this.
I got a bold. You want me to start? Let me start.
Start with your
bold prediction against La Tech. I have 3 players go over 100 yards rushing. Liberty wins. Wait, you want the pen?
3 over.
Liberty wins 38-24.
Wow.
I think you get Salter, you get Cooley, you get Billy Coolhand Lucas. Finally, with a little extra rest, maybe he's back to his explosive self, and they all 3 go over 100.
So 7 times 4.
I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench
Do it.
into that. Though. I'm gonna say Aaron Night Bedgood.
Oh, Bedgood. That's good.
Aaron Night Bedgood scores a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and goes for combined receiving and rushing of over 150. So I'm giving 2 touchdowns and over 150.
Well,
he tells Louisiana Tech, night.
Shouldn't that be his thing? He should do the little Steph Curry when he scores. He does the little yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I could use it. That would get me back into the fantasy race if he did that.
Night Bedgood.
All right.
Well, speaking of fantasy.
Wait, what's the score prediction?
The Flames win a close ball game.
Oh, okay.
A really close ball game.
Wow.
31-30.
Whoa. So we get a little Middle of Tennessee action.
Yep, 31-30.
Which, by the way, the line I'm seeing right now is Liberty by 16.5. So just put that out there.
That's a big line.
There's a big line.
That's more than I thought.
Okay.
You know why that is? They can't stop the run.
They can't stop the run. We'll find out. Em?
They couldn't stop a herd of rushing turtles.
That's Joe's favorite line.
Okay. You would actually be.
Hey, did you just come up with that? Yeah. Hear that one for 5 years.
Okay. I'm going to say that the defense holds them to 250 yards.
Total yards.
Total. So their average total offense is 382.
Okay.
That's bold.
So
I mean, their passing average is 240.
Defense comes back and says, we've got a little something to prove.
Okay. And then the offense scores 4 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, wow, you're getting it. This is a lot.
Yeah, and that's it. And then my score is 38-17.
Oh, they handle them.
Yeah.
Okay.
They cover the spread.
They can't stop the run.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
All right. That's good.
All right. We're going to go back into the mailbag. I know we dipped in it with Coach McKay, but we'll go back in because we have one more, right?
Every time I may use my mailbag. Go, Matt.
Our buddy, this is from Thomas.
I don't compliment you a lot, but I really do love that.
Thank you.
By Thomas says, do you see any of the last 4 regular season games being a trap game? Or maybe a better way to ask you would be, which of the final 4 games do you feel like is the one that you circle as, ooh, that one worries me the most?
I think ODU. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's not a trap game. What I define as a trap game to me is somebody that you should beat.
Like UMass would be probably
UMass is a better
trap game.
Old Dominion's good. Like they just almost beat JMU.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean they have a good I don't put that trap game category. But here's what I would say to that.
Yeah.
I would say we're past trap games.
Okay.
We've had our trap games.
Yeah.
Right? Sam Houston State was a trap game.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee State was a trap game.
No, Jacksonville State. I know they're good, but like coming in that quick turnaround and the 4 days.
the quick turnaround. That's true. That's a good point. That the quick turnaround does. But I think we're through trap games now. That's why it's so good to survive. You know, Kobe Singleton knocking down 3 passes against Sam Houston State was surviving a trap game. Right. Middle Tennessee State playing so bad defensively until the 4th quarter had trap games. So I think we've survived the trap games. We'll be well prepared, and I think the kids will play very well throughout the rest of the season. Now, this is the time of year what you worry about is when guys are banged up, you know, and you start getting injured. If you got to keep your key guys together and not get people back. When you get banged up, that's when you can have some.
I kind of like. I know we didn't really have, I guess, a true bye week because it wasn't ever a full week, right?
Didn't we
Because
ever
of the
get a full
way.
week?
I thought we did.
No, one we went from Saturday to the following Thursday.
Yeah, I think you're
so
right.
we didn't quite
That
make
was
it all
sorta
the way
like it,
back.
right.
So we've had two kind of semi-buys,
Semi-buys,
but
right.
it came, what was it, after 4 weeks, and then after 4 more. So it's kind of like if you're going to get those, they're coming at good times. It's almost like
your
third of the
timing's
way
good.
through the season, 2/3 of the way through the season.
But I hope we don't have
Nothing
trap
stress,
game.
Right.
I think we should move past that.
All right, last thing.
Wait, who was our final game? UTEP on the road at
Yeah.
UTEP. That's Thanksgiving weekend. Okay, that's where I was.
Last question, we kind of touched on this. This is from Charles. He's frustrated about us not getting ranked this year. He asks, does that, as a player, start to discourage you, that you feel like you just can't get the recognition you deserve? And he even asks, how does that affect recruiting if we keep not being ranked, or how much could it affect it if we did get in the rankings?
I think that if you just handle your business, I think first it just continues to motivate you as a player. Like, oh, you're not going to rank us. Like, let's just beat up on some more teams the rest of our schedule. But I think if you just handle your business and you win that conference championship, you're going to get in a good bowl game. That is what helps recruiting, is getting in a good bowl game, winning a bowl game, winning a conference championship.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I think that everyone really that understands football and scheduling, that's the reason why Liberty's not ranked. And what we said earlier about what all the other teams above Liberty did in the rankings this week had a huge impact on why Liberty, I don't think, moved up to the top 25.
Here's the thing. Is the question that you're asking is this.
Yeah.
And where Liberty's gotten their program to the point of, you're asking the question, what respect are we getting on a national level? That's ultimately what you're saying when you get into that top 25. You're sitting undefeated. What respect? We deserve more respect on a national level. I think for the players, the fans, a little different, but for the players, that it helps you. Because ultimately, Liberty's taken their program where they're cracking through the door, and Coach Freeze had him in the top 25, at the end of the season. They're cracking through the door to be respected at a national level. If you can go, the motivation is to go undefeated. So you're better off having a chip on your shoulder now, going undefeated, cracking into the top 25, right? Now you start getting respect on national level. Then you play a big name team potentially in a bowl game. Yeah. And if you can go undefeated, win that bowl game, and you're 13-0 and you have a signature win in a bowl game over a team that is nationally has respect, then now you're just taking the next step to your program, which is the college football playoff gets expanded to 12 teams. You go into the next season. You're going in recruiting in the offseason, into the transfer portal in the offseason, saying, here we are at 13-0. Here we are at finished 2018, whatever it is. Yeah. We're starting to get national respect. We do this again next year, you got a chance to play in the college football playoffs. Yeah. So
Whoa, that is a bold prediction right there.
I think from a trajectory standpoint, they're in a good place.
Right.
Liberty's in a good place right now.
Yeah.
Win your games, play somebody on national level in a bowl game, and let it work. Let it sort itself out.
And give Joe some credit, because he said this even going back to before the season even began, in talking about the playoff expansion, that you felt like a team like Liberty, you almost have to prove it one year, like
100%.
put yourself in the
That's
conversation to set yourself up going into next season. And then it's easier to make that jump, because then people aren't like, who is this team? They're like, oh, yeah, they were ranked last year. You've already proven, you have credibility going into next year already.
And that's why the biggest game of the season, if you can finish out, right, go win your conference and win the championship, and you're undefeated. The biggest, if you want to go college football playoff, next step, okay, it's winning that bowl game.
Well,
because of who you
what
play.
happened last time they were undefeated going to a bowl game? Liberty played and won.
Yeah, well, that was Coastal, right?
Remember, Coastal was undefeated.
But that's my point, is that, but if you can do it, because what do they want from a college football playoffs perspective? They want to be able to look back at some points. Have they ever had a signature win? Right? So if you're talking national level, don't even Conference USA is great, but national level, Is there a signature win within the comp? No, there's not. So at some point, somewhere along the line, you have to point to a signature win.
Well, they just had 2 or 3 signature wins last season, if what you're saying.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about getting a plus. You're correct. Like last
I understand,
season,
but what they did last season should give them.
Well, now you're going back 2 years. So,
but I'm talking about for this year.
Yeah, but how they
finished. Should that give
how
them?
they finished last season.
Okay, I do understand that, and what you could. And another point you can make is they lost 50% of their roster. So.
And they lost Toledo in the bowl game. So my point is that if you go undefeated, you have a signature win a bowl game over whoever it may be, who knows, and then you go into the next season, you do the same thing again. Now you are dead in the conversation, no doubt whatsoever. So you don't have to worry about rankings right now. That's my point.
And you're right. If you do that, like recruiting gets a
and then your recruiting gets so much
easier
better
going into next year when you can actually, like you said, put that out there. Like you're not just coming to play at a good program. You're coming to a program that has a legitimate shot at a playoff appearance.
Well, and think about how much easier it's going to be for them to recruit because they're not making that transition and all that newness.
Right. They've already won here.
Right. They've won here, and they are settled, and they've gotten their families moved, and there's just a lot that goes into making such a big jump.
They've been powered by Alcova.
And they've been powered by Alcova Mortgage. Hey,
don't let that go under the radar. Don't let that,
Don't forget, you can be a part of the show if you want to send in any questions, comments, criticism. FlameCentral@liberty.edu. We actually send all the criticism to spam, but if you want to add a question or anything, we'd be happy to answer it, send you a mug.
Yeah.
Anything else you got? Because we got to wrap this up.
No,
Get out to the mountain this Saturday for homecoming and cheer on the Flames to victory over Lost
Basketball Monday, Flame Central game day, pregame show for football. If you're not in the stadium, even if you are, pull it up, watch it.
That is on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, streaming live an hour before kick. So I believe that's 5 p.m. So, all right, for Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week. Happy Halloween.